Welcome, this is Shakti Carola Navran with my weekly power forecast for the upcoming week. So if you have been following me for a while, then you might scroll a little forward with the replay, because in the beginning I'm sharing things for the new people so they get a little bit of an idea what to expect and who I am. So if you have been following me, you don't probably want to hear that again. So anyway, my name is Shakti Carola Navran. I live on Maui and I'm what we call an evolutionary astrologer. So evolutionary astrology is not about woo-woo, this is your future, and it's not about imprisoning us into certain perspectives, or we don't imagine the planets holding us with invisible strands and forcing us to do certain things. In evolutionary astrology, we look more at the potential the planets are holding, depending on in which sign and house and how they're aspected with other planets. So we're looking at the potential which can be manifesting in many, many ways. So it's all ranging from what we call the low-end side of possibilities to the high-end side of possibilities. And how we are managing to manifest it wherever we are is depending on our state of consciousness. So consciousness is a deciding factor. It's a key to everything. So this is where I think astrological forecasts are coming in and are so useful, because it gives us the overall intent. And I always say, imagine the planets as transits, as actualizations, as people, gods, goddesses coming knock at your door. So with that image in mind, it's easy to imagine that certain planets coming into our life as actualizations hold a certain potential depending on the quality and the personality of the god. So then it's up to us to invite that god, that energy, that frequency in and start a conversation. So this is my intention with these astrological forecasts for you, is to raise your consciousness, give you that wisdom, that higher perspective, so you really know essentially what it is about. So in my weekly forecast readings, I talk a lot about the moon, because the moon, even if it's shifting every 2 days into a new sign, it's nevertheless very, very powerful. But we also talk about whatever other planets are doing. So today we will talk a little bit about the sun shifting into Scorpio for a month. So that's a profound shift in energy. So and then we will go through every day, and I give you the specifics what to expect that day. So the whole idea and my intention is, so you're prepared, you are able to invite those forces into your life, and you start that dialogue, and therefore you have a better choice how you want to take those energies. Hi Diane, good to see you. So I'm not a fortune teller, and the future is not set in stone. So you are creating your future right now. So if you're not happy with your presence and what's happening in the present moment, in the here and now, then you can trace it back towards the decision and orientations and choices you have done in the past. So right now you're creating your future, and that is depending on your state of consciousness. So okay, so if you want to follow the general forecast and get more of an idea how it personally impacts you, you want to look at your chart. So your chart could look something like that. And if you don't have your chart, then you can go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com, and you can sign up for my newsletter. First of all, I will be able to keep you in the loop with upcoming forecasts. Second of all, you will get a free chart like this printout. And with that, you will get what I call the Love Stone Report, where I discuss the most healing birthstone, gemstone for your heart based on the Venus position in your chart. So when you have your chart like that, and I discuss certain features in my forecast, then it's kind of like this. So inside is your chart, and outside are the planets where they are right now. And then you see the lines, which we call aspects, which are kind of open energetic channels and connections between the principles of my chart and certain actualizations. So outside the planet, these are the visiting guests to expect. And like, for example, here the Mars is in Libra, so it's not connected with anything. So that means that Mars, when it was there, didn't impact me too much. But then there are other planets which are very slow, and they will be impacted for much longer, especially when they kind of connected to personal planets. When I do my astrology readings with people, I usually start out with this chart. This is your main certificate, your main blueprint for this lifetime. And then as a follow-up for people who do like my work, I do the forecast reading, which is another 2-hour reading where I discuss all what is up for the coming year. And again, it's not about future telling. It's really more to get you prepared so you have a choice of how you want to manifest the potential we're looking at. So what I'm doing today is kind of I give you an idea of certain planets and where they are in your signs. Where they are in the signs, and then if you have your chart, you can look, the full moon is happening here, the new moon is happening over there, and that is the first step to manifesting the way you want it. Hi, Paul. Okay, so that's a general idea how you want to work with the forecasts. And as you know, if you have been following me, I always try to grasp the overall theme for the week. So I don't just want to talk astrology. I don't have much patience to listen to astrological Babylonian, even if I understand it. I enjoy much more the translation and what it means. So that's what I'm trying to give you in my forecast, to really translate this mysterious, secret dimension of the planets and what they represent into something practical. So my Sun is in Taurus and my Mercury is in Taurus. My way of thinking is very practical. And so my intention is to give you some really clear suggestions and inspire you for a wonderful week to come, and how you can use that knowledge about those upcoming forces and what to do with them in the most high-end way you can imagine. Okay, so let's dive in. The overall theme for this week has to do with our sense of being an individual, with a personality, with a sense of self, with certain needs in relation to the other. So we are relational beings. So if babies are not picked up and touched and nurtured, they actually die. So we do need that interaction with the other. And of course, I mean, we all have been in love and fallen out of love. So whenever the heart is concerned, it goes deep. It really touches us. So if we experience love and the high end of things, it's very ecstatic and the most wonderful, expansive feeling we can have. But we also know if something goes wrong and we're breaking up, it's one of the deepest areas of suffering we can experience. So this week is really about learning about that dance, as I like to call it, between our own self, our own sense of self, our own sense of needs, and how we relate back to the other, how we communicate, how we find ways to compromise, because a relationship has a lot to do with compromises. But it doesn't work if we fall off the wagon in being too egotistic, too much concerned about our own needs. And we can fall off the wagon on the other side, where we over-compromising, where we dependent and do everything we think the other wants us to be and do. So it's always about this kind of complementing each other. So that's kind of the overall theme for this week, that we want to become more conscious about this dance. Me, myself, my own needs, and the other. And keep in mind, we have a deep longing of our soul to experience that dance with the other and to learn how to make it work. So know thyself, that's the lesson plan for the week. So it's also good to remember that whatever you experience in the outer world, no matter if you're in a relationship or you're single or not, is a reflection of your inner world. So, for example, if you have deep wounds, trauma, early childhood trauma, around relationship and relating and trust, then you will play that out in the choices you make with partners and in your life. So if you're not happy with your relationship life out there is some work you need to do inside of yourself. There is some healing work you need to do. And if you have me heard talking about the wave in the ocean symbolizing the individual, then the top of the wave, which is correlating with our sense of self, is just 5 to 10%. And most of what is our consciousness is 90 to 95% under the surface. So it's our personal unconsciousness. And believe it or not, but probably we all have experienced it, whenever we are in a relationship, in a committed relationship, that brings up a lot of unconscious material, and especially all these inner wounds we haven't dealt with. So I think it's kind of understandable for all of us that whatever we experience in the world has to do with our inner set point, and has to do with our choices and our mostly unconscious creation of life. And of course, my approach with astrology is that I want to make a lot of those unconscious dimensions conscious, because then it gives you more choices. So this is where I say astrology is really magical, and it helps you to thrive, because just to have that bigger overview over your birth chart can really do wonders for you. It frees you up, it connects the dots in a new way. It's for me, after 40 years of doing astrology, I haven't found anything more powerful and worthwhile to keep learning. I mean, I'm studying every morning, so even after 40 years, it seems like I just started into the mysteries. And for me, I'm very passionate about it and exhilarated about what astrology can do for us. So in the Eastern Indian perspective, they call this inner world reflected in the outer world, they call it the dream world, the LEILA. And it's often looked at that the outer world is just a projection. I don't know if it's just a projection, but I can totally see how we invite experiences, certain circumstances into our life depending on our blueprint, our birth chart, and who we take ourselves to be. And that's why consciousness plays such a wonderful role to ease up that journey, to make it a high-end journey. So I don't know a better way to cut through the LEILAs, to cut through those projections, than looking into your birth chart and finding out what you carry in your soul, what you want to deepen, areas you want to heal, sensitivities, vulnerabilities, challenges, soul wounds from prior lifetimes. So it's very rich what you can read in your chart. Okay, so also as I promised, I want to talk a little bit about the overall theme for the coming months, not just the week, because Sun today is moving into Scorpio. And that is a big deal. So the archetypal zodiac starts with Aries. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and so on. So Aries is just that fiery, forceful beginning of one level of evolution. And then in Taurus, it's kind of settling down, grounding itself. And then when it has done that, then you're curious. You want to expand. You want to get to know the world. You want to learn about the world, which is all happening in Gemini. Then there's a settling down again. Then you want to find out about your own inner world of emotions and what drives you, what's under the surface of the top of the wave. And then after Cancer is Leo, Virgo, Libra. So the Sun was in Libra last month, and now it's stepping into Scorpio. And in Scorpio, it's more like this inward direction again. So Scorpio is a second sign of water. It's ruled by Pluto, the god of the underworld. So Pluto relates not only to our personal unconsciousness, symbolized by the belly of the wave, but it relates to the collective unconsciousness. So Pluto really connects us to something so much deeper than most of the time we're able to allow ourselves to experience or to tap into. So this month, it's a chance for all of us to integrate deeper layers of our consciousness. And with that, it's often about healing. On the high end, Pluto is not only the god of transformation, the hell realms down there, but on the high end, Pluto also rules the riches of the underworld. So this is where the gold is found, all the gems. So that means whenever we do that deep inner work and we tap into unconscious structures and make them conscious, then we have more access to those gems, those beautiful dimensions inside of ourselves. And usually it's a very self-empowering process because it takes a lot of energy to keep certain areas, traumas, wounds hidden. And when we integrate those, there's a certain empowerment and freedom happening. So that's a wonderful thing. So I would call the overall theme for this month is all about transformation and transmutation. This is what Scorpio is about. You dive into the trauma, into the wound, and something beautiful can come out of that. So I haven't talked too much about the medical dimension of astrology. I'm not a real expert on that, but I have always been interested, so I know some. So I do know that Scorpio is associated with our whole digestive tract, with what's happening in the intestines. And you could look at it not only as a process of transformation. We take food in, we take nutrients in, and then it gets transformed and assimilated into our body, and it gets transmuted, changed into cells and our physical body, which, if you really think about it, it's quite amazing. So this is happening all in the intestines. And you might have heard Paracelsus, I think he was a medieval healer who became very famous. And he said, the death sits in the intestines. So I think a lot of alternative doctors these days agree with that, because we all are reared on so much processed food. There's all this burden we have in the water, in the food, with plasticizers, with toxicities of stuff they spray on the food. So you can imagine, no matter how healthy you eat, that we all have a certain burden our body has to detox on a regular base. So that's why this month I would suggest to you that that you do some kind of a cleanse. So I'm starting next Monday, and I do a 5-day colonics cleanse here. We have a place on the island, Temple of Peace it's called, where they offer that. And it's a combination with being on liquid food for 10 days or something. So I'm going to start a little bit beforehand. And the liquid food helps the intestines to not have to work so hard, so it can start into the detoxification. And then the colon cleanse is really scorpionic. It's really kind, you get that old stuff out of there. So if you have a chance and you feel called to it, this month is a month where you can go deeper with the cleanse than any other month. So especially take care for that intestinal buildup. And there's a wonderful book there called Detoxify or Die. It's quite a harsh title, but it's a fantastic book. It's written by a Dr. Sherry something, and her whole approach in that book is to really teach us about how polluted and toxic we actually are, and what you can do about it. So one of her approaches is infrared sauna. I mean, we have a lot of possibilities to cleanse our bodies through sweating, and infrared sauna goes really deep, so it also pulls out toxins out of the organs. So I'm gonna do my colon cleanse with everyday infrared sauna. So I think that's a good combination. So anyway, I think it's a good time of the year to really tend to your body, the temple of your soul, to make sure you eat well and you get that build up we all have out of the body. So of course, so more processed food you eat, so higher that burden will be. I probably eat 95% of my food is living food, which means vegetable, juices, fruits, stuff like that. So I shifted my whole nutrition dramatically over the years because I have migraines, so my whole system is very sensitive. So I was pushed into inquiring about all these different ways how to support my physical body and my healing process. So anyway, that's what I would suggest for the month. Think about what you can do, what fits with your lifestyle. And there's another nice book out there, Medical Medium, who talks a lot about fruits and vegetables and what they all support and do in the way of healing. So that's a wonderful thing. I'm gonna do my cleanse in combination with a liver flush, it's called, and you can Google for it. There are books about it out there. So that's the idea, to support and cleanse up your liver and your gallbladder and the stones building up there. So there are many things you can do. So pay attention, do something. Okay, so let's get into the week. Okay, Paul, yeah. Balance again. I agree, totally. But with this suggestion to do cleanse, in-depth cleanse throughout this month, it's like you're setting the stage. You take those transformational, deep forces of Scorpio and Pluto the ruler, and you say, okay, God, Pluto, come in, and I bow to you, and I'm going to do something proactive. So that's the whole idea with my forecast. I want to give you suggestions of something you can do. And then when you choose a high level manifestations consciously, you won't get the nasty stuff down here. So that's my whole intention, to empower you, to give you those ideas, what to do. So this month, make sure you do something in that field. Also, coffee enemas are a wonderful way to have an ongoing cleanse. So yeah, just see what pulls you, but you want to be aware how important it is to have your intestines cleansed and the good bacteria in there, and how to truly nourish yourself. Okay, so what we're gonna have here, we have not only Sun entering Scorpio today, but also Mercury is entering this week, Scorpio, on Monday. The new moon will be in Scorpio on Sunday. So that's a lot of Scorpio activations. So I believe I'm right in the flow with my plans for my cleanse. So then the moon, as you know, is pretty fast. Enters Leo today, then goes into Virgo, into Libra and Scorpio. So, which are all relational signs. So that's why I started out to describe the theme for the week. Has a lot to do with really knowing our own self and how we do the dance with the other. And I think the goal in a relationship is always to come to that eye-to-eye place where there's a lot of respect and appreciation for the other. And this is where a truly intimate relationship can happen. So I believe this is what we all striving for. Okay, so let's see what's happening during the week. So I'm going to go through the days. So today, not only the Sun is entering Scorpio, but also the Moon is entering a new sign. It's entering Leo today. It's 3:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so Paul, I'm gonna go and look at your comments there when I'm through it. Trying to read and keeping my thread is a little challenge here. So keep writing down. I'm gonna go through it at the end. Also, Diane, if you have questions, let me know. Okay. So where was I? Oh, Moon entering Leo. So Leo is a sign of fire, the queen in us, the king in us. It's all about really stepping into our own individual self-expression to find that place of self-value, of our uniqueness, and how we bring that into the world. So Leo also has to do with playfulness. So with Leo, we're learning about really making time for fun, for joy in our life. And I just have a good friend visiting from the mainland, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun this week. So we went to the beach yesterday, and so often for me it takes somebody to pull me out of my work mode and to even think about what else would I like to do. I mean, I love my work and with clients, but sometimes it's good to get away from the computer and do something else. So that's the invitation with the Moon in Leo. Get out, do something for fun, enjoy yourself, and also really step into that sense of self and self-expression. The Leo wants to shine on the stage of life, likes to be admired and reflected back. So we all didn't get enough of that when we were growing up. So this is 2 days where you can really enjoy to shine a little stronger than usual. Especially if you have any planets in Leo, then this will kind of enhance all those qualities those planets are already carrying. Okay, Sunday the 23rd. It's kind of a sweet day tomorrow. The moon is sextiling Jupiter, trining Saturn. So whenever there's a sextile or a trine, it's called a harmonious aspect or connection between the two planets and what they symbolize. So harmonious is a little misguiding, maybe. I like to call them easy aspects. So that's why I not so often talk about easy aspects, because I'm more concerned in where the energy is pushy and strong and where there's friction, because this is where we need the attention to decide on which level do we want to manifest those principles. So nevertheless, if there's nothing pushy to talk about, then I talk about the easy aspect. So tomorrow there's quite a sweetness and easy flow, which goes well with the moon in Leo. So go out, if you're in Maui, go to the ocean, do something nice, do something nurturing for your soul. Monday the 24th, Mercury enters Scorpio. So again, remember Mercury is a symbol for how we process mentally, our consciousness. Mercury is our curiosity, is how we learn. And at some point, if we have amassed enough knowledge and wisdom, then it shifts to the high end of Mercury, to being the teacher, to passing insights on to others. And that's usually a very natural process. Whenever we have gotten good at something, then this is what we can bring to the world. So Mercury's way of thinking, of learning, goes deeper with Scorpio. So it's an invitation to become more self-conscious onto what's in the belly of your wave. And in general, I would say any kind of self-inquiry, any kind of therapeutic work, of self-growth, will lower the top and make our sense of self wider and bigger, and it will integrate unconscious structures. So I truly believe this is why we came and what we're here for. We want to wake up. We want to become more conscious. We want to truly experience what it means to be love and to feel connected in oneness with the world. So the Mercury and Scorpio will support that process. So it's about deep realizations, deep insights. Then the moon is already ready to enter into another sign on Monday. Enters Virgo at 8:16 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So here we have a theme. So again, moon is our emotional set point, is how we will filter the world emotionally. In Virgo, the emphasis is really to learn how to serve, to learn how to contribute with who we are and our insights, and be a force for good, how to teach and mentor and heal others. So Virgo is a sign for healing in some dimensions. Then Tuesday, the 25th, Moon squares Venus. Here we have again that relationship theme I started to talk about in the beginning. Then Moon is opposing Neptune, Venus is squaring Neptune, and Moon is squaring Saturn. So let's translate all that into something meaningful. So first of all, there's a big theme starting on Tuesday around relationship. Relationship with becoming knowledgeable about our own heart, our wounds, our sensitivities. That's Venus, the ruler of the heart, the goddess of love. And Moon is more like the belly consciousness, is more like our mysterious inner world of feelings, which is not often logically. So the belly needs to listen to the heart. The heart needs to integrate the feelings in the belly. So Tuesday is a wonderful day for that. The Neptune in the picture, Neptune connects us to the ocean the wave is coming out of. So Neptune always brings in the absolute highest wisdom perspective of consciousness, the realization that as a wave you are the ocean. So Neptune is always concerned about us waking up to our deepest truths we are able to hold. So Neptune, higher Neptune, is about meditation and tapping into the invisible dimensions. So that can happen on Tuesday around our needs, around our longing for a relationship. So it could be a day, if you're single, where you are especially connected with that longing, wanting to be with somebody, sharing your journey. If you are in a relationship, it might be a day to deepen, to express yourself more honest, more intimate with your loved one. So Tuesday, big day for relationship. Wednesday, the 26th, Moon opposing Chiron. It's kind of continuing what started the day before. Whenever Chiron is part of the picture, Chiron, the wounded healer, it's really about healing. It's really about you being able to heal yourself. So it's not like you find the right practitioner and healer who puts his hands on you and you're all good, even if that can happen sometimes. But Chiron is really the wounded healer who had to heal himself because he was immortal, so he couldn't die. So that's kind of what's coming out of that Tuesday, healing in the heart and our relationship, waking up to a more truthful, real perspective. And I do believe that's what ultimately our healing process is. Because whenever we just identified with a 5 to 10% of the top of our wave, that's the story, that's the wound. So healing always starts with integrating parts of our own unconsciousness and tapping into the ocean consciousness. So this is what actually waking up is, if we are not longer identified just with the top of our wave, but with that area where the wave meets the ocean. So you might want to think about what's your awareness about in which area do you have to heal yourself and pay attention. And with Chiron, you can move and do that healing work for yourself. Okay, Thursday the 27th. Moon enters Libra, the relationship sign, the sign of committed, open-ended relationship. We used to call it the sign of marriage, but nowadays lots of people are in committed relationships without the paper, so we have to be very respectful for that. That's why I like to talk about Libra as a relationship sign of open-ended but committed relationship. So again, relationship is in the forefront, how you do that dance with the other, and the awareness of how wounded you are. And we all carry wounds in our heart, in what happened to us in our childhood and our earlier relationships. So Moon in Libra, you want to become very aware and conscious of how you relate and what's projection and how you can do better than that by taking back your projections. Also, Moon conjunct Mercury on Thursday, so there will be an insight, there will be a way to watch yourself, to become aware of inner structures you haven't been as aware before, maybe. Friday, Moon conjuncts Jupiter, squares Pluto, Mars squares Uranus. So Moon conjunct Jupiter, that's a day where we actually feel a lot of emotional fullness and optimism. And so Friday should be, in that perspective, an expansive day where we dare a little more and are more expressive. But also it squares Pluto, so whenever Pluto is part of the picture, Pluto, the lord of the underworld, stuff comes up we have to look at and face and integrate. So that's also the potential for Friday. And then Mars squares Uranus. Mars the warrior, Uranus the rebel. So square being a frictionless aspect. So there might be something happening there in the world. So as a person we all will experience Mars square Uranus. It's a good day to exercise, to go run, to be in the ocean, to do something to make sure that your physical energies, your life force energies are flowing well. Okay, so Saturday, Moon enters Scorpio and Venus conjunct Saturn. So Moon enters Scorpio, heading for the new moon, which we discuss next week. But again, there's that deepening, that emotional access we have to unconscious structures, and the ability to integrate and have that sense of digging into the riches which are waiting in the underground for us. The Venus conjunct Saturn, high end of that would be an awareness of commitment, of deepening who you are in your relationship, walking your talk, those kind of qualities. Low end Venus Saturn brings up fears in relationship, maybe fears of being betrayed or left alone. So these are low end Venus Saturn manifestations. So no sneezing, okay. Sorry. So whenever Venus is activated, it's really about our ability to love our own self first, and how well we are able to do that. That always spills over how well we are able to love others. And that brings me to the gemstone of the week. As you know, I'm a gemstone expert. I've written the book Jewelry and Gems for Self-Discovery. And it's an introduction into astrology, and which stones are your true birthstones and how you can use them to support certain aspects in your chart. So I also have created the gemstone profile, where I give you all your gemstones, true birthstones, one for each one of your planets. So it's a report, so it's something you can order online for $20. Just Google gemstone profile and you will find it. And I can put the link under there if you want. So Ruby is the gemstone for the week, with all these relational themes and subject. So Ruby is a warrior of the heart. Ruby is a wonderful stone. It relates to the first chakra and the heart chakra. So what the Ruby does, it brings up that energy all the way from the root chakra, which is all about our sense of self in a body, in the world, and our rootedness in the physical world, into the heart, which is representing the way we connect, we feel connected, we can experience love and reach out to the other. So Ruby is a wonderful stone who can do that. You all know how a ruby looks like. I just show you some really nice crystals I have. So this was a big crystal, and this is a cut. So you can see it kept the crystal structure. So here you see crystals, ruby crystals, and I always have a fascination for crystals as they grow. And when I still used to make jewelry, I did a lot of crystal pendants with just as the crystals come out of the earth. I just love that. Yeah, I just love that natural way how they show up, and the beauty created by the earth and inside the earth. So gemstones can help us to balance our frequency, because they're kind of burst in a perfect frequency, and they kind of carry the highest frequency of the invisible realm, and they bring them in the most balanced way for us. So gemstones also can serve as a focal point, as an anchor for certain intentions we're setting. So there's a lot of work you can do with gemstones. So if you have a crystal, you can put it on your third eye, you can put it on your heart, on to your body anyway and anywhere, and it will change the frequency of your body. So in a way, I look at gemstones as energy medicine. So it's like homeopathy. You bring in a certain subtle energy frequency, and it balances the physical body. Mm-hmm. Hi Karina, good to see you. So I just wanted to read here something out of my book. The ruby is a stone for lovers, and their subtler sexual energies. The whole arena of tantric love belongs to the ruby. So the wearer of ruby loves to play and enjoy the physical senses and all their variations and possibilities. He is the king charming the queen, laying his kingdom at her feet. So I just like that. So you can imagine that the whole art of Tantra is really about bringing up that energy. So ruby helps because it brings it already up into the heart. So Tantra as a spiritual path is really just using the sexual energies to help to transform and grow and raise our personal frequency. So gemstones can really help us doing that. So if you are interested in gemstones, make sure you get your gemstone profile and let me know what you think. And usually it does describe some of the gemstones you are aware that you love and maybe already have jewelry with. So because I was a jeweler, I always wanted to have people first jewelry pieces with their main healing gemstones. Okay, so now I'm going to go through my comments here. Lemongrass burdock tea for you. Okay. Yeah. Paul, you asked about cell regeneration. Yeah, when we do colon cleanse, we really get out that build-up of old toxic material, which is kind of plastered on the wall of the colon. So it becomes this kind of rubber-like skin, and when we have that build-up, we just can't process the how you call it, the supplements we're taking or the nutrients and the food we're taking in, and it just doesn't get through how it's supposed to go through. So we can eat the best food, but we're not really processing it. So that's why colon cleanse is really, I know, is the only way to get that build up out of there. But you definitely want to have somebody knowledgeable to help you in that process and to be aware of the diet to support the process. Okay, Paul, this is wonderful. Yeah, I mean, the last 3 weeks have been very transformational with all the Pluto, Mars, Aries stuff going on. So it's wonderful to hear that you found that place where when you look at things, you face your fears, that it shifts and it transforms into that peaceful inner state. So yeah, this is what I'm after for you. So I love to hear that. Okay, so Karina, if you don't have another comment for me there, I think I want to wrap it up. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I have the tendency to talk too much because there is so much to talk about, but I know people don't want to listen to long videos. So let's call it a wrap. If you're interested to learn about astrology really in depth, then you want to go to my Master Astrology Academy, and I'm going to put the link down there. So I teach you evolutionary astrology and how to read a chart. So you might want to check that out if astrology holds your interest and passion like it does for me. Okay, so I think we're done. So thank you so much, you guys, for saying hello to me and following me. And even if you listen to the replay of the video, leave me your comments. I'm promising I'm going to get back to you and ask your questions, and come see me next Saturday. All right. All the best to you. Have a wonderful weekend. And as we say on Maui, aloha.